Welcome to Talk About It in English, the channel that helps you talk about real life in clear, natural English. I am Sarah, and I am here with Mark to help you build your confidence. Today, we are going to talk about something that makes almost every English learner nervous. We are going to talk about complaining. Specifically, we are going to look at how to make a complaint at a hotel without sounding rude, without sounding aggressive, and without making the staff angry at you.
That is right, Sarah. Complaining is difficult. I think for many of our listeners, the biggest fear isn't that they don't know the words. The fear is that they will say the wrong thing and offend someone. We all saw that video of the two men checking into a hotel during a storm. They were angry, they were shouting, and they were demanding things. It was very dramatic. But in real life, if you act like that, you probably won't get good service. You might just get a very annoyed receptionist.
Exactly. The problem is that when you are learning English, you often translate directly from your native language. In your language, if the water is cold, you might just say, "The water is cold. It is a fact." But in English, if you walk up to a desk and say, "The water is cold," it can sound very blunt. It sounds like an attack. It sounds like you are blaming the person behind the desk personally.
And that is what we want to fix today. We want to move you from the red zone, which is aggressive and direct, into the green zone, which is polite, cooperative, and professional. We are going to give you a toolkit. We call it the Softener Toolkit. These are small words and phrases you can add to your sentences to soften the blow. They make you sound like a sophisticated, polite traveler, not a rude tourist.
We have 3 specific strategies for you today. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly how to tell a receptionist that your room is dirty, that your key doesn't work, or that your soup is cold, and you will do it in a way that makes them want to help you. Before we start, if you want to speak about your life in English and not just study grammar rules, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We help you talk about a new topic every single week. Let's jump into the first problem. We call this the direct translation trap. Mark, imagine you are a receptionist. I am a guest. I just walked into my room and the air conditioning is not working. I come back to the desk and I say to you, "The air conditioner is broken. Fix it." How do you feel?
Honestly, I feel a little defensive. I feel like you are barking orders at me. I understand the information, I know the machine is broken, but your tone makes me feel like I'm in trouble. It doesn't make me want to rush to help you. It makes me want to do the bare minimum.
Exactly. And that's the trap. The student thinks they are just reporting a fact. They think, "I am telling the truth. The machine is broken. Why is he offended?" The reason is that in English culture, and especially in service situations, being too direct is often considered impolite. We need to cushion the complaint. We need to wrap the bad news in soft language. This brings us to our first strategy, the lead-in phrase.
The lead-in phrase is like a warning signal. It tells the listener that bad news is coming, but it does it gently. It prepares them psychologically so they don't get shocked or defensive. The 2 best phrases for this are, "I'm afraid," and "unfortunately."
Let's look at "I'm afraid" first. Now, listeners, do not be confused. When we say "I'm afraid," we do not mean that we are scared. We are not trembling with fear. In this context, "I'm afraid" is just a polite way of saying, "I am sorry to tell you this negative thing." It is purely social. It lowers the temperature of the conversation. So instead of saying, "The room is dirty," you would say, "I'm afraid the room is not quite clean." Listen to the difference. "The room is dirty" versus "I'm afraid the room isn't quite clean." The second one sounds much calmer. It sounds like we are working together to solve a problem.
Let's try another one. Imagine you booked a room with a sea view, but they gave you a view of the parking lot. The direct, aggressive way to say this is, "This is the wrong room. I paid for a sea view." Sarah, how do we use the lead-in phrase here?
We use the second one we mentioned, "unfortunately." You could say, "Unfortunately, there seems to be a mistake with the room view," or "I'm afraid I booked a sea view, but this room looks over the car park." Let's practice this right now. I want you to listen to a blunt, rude sentence, and then I want you to shadow Sarah as she fixes it with a lead-in phrase. Here is the rude sentence. "The Wi-Fi is too slow."
Okay, let's soften that. Repeat after me. I'm afraid the Wi-Fi is a bit slow. I'm afraid the Wi-Fi is a bit slow. Here is another rude one. You overcharged me. Let's use "unfortunately" for this one. Repeat after me. Unfortunately, I think there is a mistake on the bill. Unfortunately, I think there is a mistake on the bill.
Did you hear how Sarah also added "I think"? She didn't say, there is a mistake. She said, I think there is a mistake. This is part of the same strategy. You are softening your certainty. You are leaving room for the possibility that maybe you are wrong, even if you know you are right. It saves face for the other person. That is a great point, Mark. Saving face is huge in English-speaking cultures. You want to give the receptionist a chance to fix the problem without feeling stupid or accused. So, strategy number 1 is the lead-in. Use I'm afraid or unfortunately at the start of your sentence. It buys you time and it sets a polite tone. Now let's move to strategy number 2. This is my absolute favorite trick for intermediate learners. It makes you sound instantly more advanced. It is called the seem strategy. The seem strategy is all about the verb to seem, S-E-E-M. We use this to describe a problem as an observation rather than an absolute fact. When you say the TV is broken, that is a hard fact. It is 100% negative. When you say the TV doesn't seem to work, you are describing your experience. You are saying, to my eyes, it appears not to work. This is magical because it removes the blame. If I say, you gave me a broken key, I am blaming you. If I say, the key doesn't seem to work, I am just reporting a technical issue. I am not attacking your competence, I am just asking for help. Let's look at the grammar here because it is important. Usually we use the negative form, it doesn't seem to, followed by a verb. The most common verbs are work, be, or flush. Let's take the example of the key card. You arrive at your door, you tap the card, and nothing happens. The red light flashes. You are tired. You go back to the lobby. Don't say, the key is bad. Say, the key doesn't seem to work. Let's practice the pronunciation of that. It is a very common cluster of sounds. Doesn't seem to. Doesn't seem to. Mark, let's drill some common hotel objects. I will give you the object and you tell me it is broken using the seem strategy. Okay, I am ready. The object is the air conditioning. The air conditioning doesn't seem to be working. Good. The object is the shower. It has no hot water. The shower doesn't seem to have any hot water. The object is the toilet. It won't flush. The toilet doesn't seem to flush properly. Notice that word properly at the end? That is another great softener. Instead of saying it doesn't flush, saying it doesn't flush properly implies it is trying but failing. It is much softer. Let's combine strategy 1 and strategy 2. This is where you really start sounding like a native speaker. You combine the lead-in with the seem strategy. So instead of the TV is broken, you say, I'm afraid the TV doesn't seem to be working. That is perfect. That is a sentence that will get you a new remote control or a new room immediately, with a smile. It is respectful, it is clear, and it is firm without being rude. Let's try another combination. The noise. The neighbors next door are having a party. It is midnight. You call the front desk. Don't scream, shut them up. USS strategy, what do we say, Mark? I'm afraid the neighbors seem to be very loud. Or better yet, I'm afraid there seems to be a lot of noise coming from the room next door. That is excellent. Using there seems to be is a wonderful phrase. There seems to be a problem. There seems to be a mistake. There seems to be a noise. It distances the problem from the people. It makes the problem an object that you and the receptionist can look at together and fix. So, we have softened the opening using lead-ins. We have softened the description of the problem using seem. Now we need to soften the most important part, the solution. What do you actually want them to do? This is strategy number 3, the request. In the video we talked about earlier, the angry guest might say, give me a new room, or I want a refund. These are commands, they are imperatives. In English, we rarely use imperatives with strangers unless it is an emergency. If there is a fire, shout, get out. But if there is a dirty towel, do not shout, give me a clean one. We need to turn these commands into questions. And not just any questions, but modal questions. We use would and could. The classic pattern is, would it be possible to, or could you possibly? These phrases acknowledge that you are asking for a favor. Even though you are the paying customer and you have a right to a clean room, framing it as a favor is the social dance we do in English. It makes the staff feel powerful and helpful rather than subservient and ordered around. Let's take the example of changing rooms. The noise is too bad. You cannot sleep. You want to move. The command is, move me to a different room. The polite request is, would it be possible to move to a different room? Or even softer, I was wondering if it would be possible to move to a different room. I love I was wondering. It is past continuous, which in English is often used to create distance and politeness. I was wondering if is a set phrase. You should memorize it as a single block of sound. I was wondering if. Let's practice building some requests. Sarah, I have a problem. My soup is cold. I want you to heat it up. How do I ask? Could you possibly heat this up for me? Or, would it be possible to get this heated up? Okay, I have another problem. I need a late checkout. My flight isn't until 6 p.m. I want to stay in the room until 2 p.m. This is a big request, so you need big softeners. You might say, I was wondering if it would be possible to keep the room until 2 p.m.? And if you want to add the lead-in and the seam strategy, let's try to build a mega sentence. Okay, let's try. Imagine the problem is the bed. The bed is broken. The springs are sticking into your back. You need a new room. Step 1, lead-in. I'm afraid. Step 2, seam. The bed doesn't seem to be very comfortable. Step 3, request. So would it be possible to move to another room? Put it all together. I'm afraid the bed doesn't seem to be very comfortable, so would it be possible to move to another room? That is beautiful. Honestly, if a guest said that to me, I would probably upgrade them to a suite just because they were so nice about it. And that is the key takeaway here. These words, afraid, seem, possible, they are not just fluff. They are tools. They are the oil that makes the machine of society work smoothly. When you use them, you are signaling that you are a calm, reasonable person, and calm, reasonable people get what they want. Now, we are going to do something a little different. We are going to do a simulation. I am going to play the role of the hotel receptionist. You, the listener, are the guest. Sarah is going to act as your coach. She will tell you the scenario, and you have to speak out loud to me. Do not just think it. Say it. Are you ready? Here is the situation. You have just checked in. You open the door to your room, and you smell smoke. Someone has been smoking in your non-smoking room. It smells terrible. You go back to the desk. Mark is standing there. Use your tools. Lead in, seam, request. Go. Okay, did you say something? Mark, how would you respond if they said, "It smells like smoke, give me a new room"? I would say, well, the hotel is full, let me check, and I would take my time. I wouldn't be happy. Now, listeners, try again. Start with unfortunately. Use the verb seem regarding the smell, and ask, would it be possible to change rooms? Try it now. That was much better. A sentence like, unfortunately, the room seems to smell of smoke. Would it be possible to change to a different one? That is perfect. Let's do one more scenario. This one is about money. It is the morning, you are checking out. You look at your bill. There is a charge for $50 for room service. But you did not order room service. You ate a sandwich from the supermarket. You need to dispute this charge. Remember, money is sensitive. Do not say, you stole my money. Do not say, this is wrong. Use your softeners. Use I think. Use there seems to be. Mark is the cashier. He hands you the bill. You look at it. You see the mistake. Speak to Mark now. Okay, let's see how you did. Did you start with, I'm afraid, or unfortunately? Did you point to the bill? A great model answer would be, I'm afraid there seems to be a mistake on the bill. I didn't order any room service. Would it be possible to check this again? Notice the phrase, check this again. That is a very safe request. You are not asking for money yet. You are just asking for a check. It is very low pressure. Mark, what is the outcome when someone speaks like that? The outcome is that I say, oh, I am so sorry. Let me remove that for you right away. Because you were polite, I assume it was an honest computer error. If you scream at me, I might think you were trying to trick me. Your politeness buys you trust. That is such an important lesson. Politeness buys you trust. We have covered a lot of ground today. We started with the fear of being rude. We looked at the direct translation trap. We learned the lead-in phrases, I'm afraid and unfortunately. We mastered the seam strategy to turn facts into observations. And we learned how to turn commands into requests using would it be possible. If you only remember one thing from today, remember this. You do not need to be aggressive to be strong. You can be firm and polite at the same time. In fact, in English, being polite is the strongest way to be. We want you to practice this. We have a small challenge for you. This week, try to use the seam strategy just once. It doesn't have to be a complaint. It can just be an observation. If you are at a cafe and the table is wobbly, say to yourself, this table doesn't seem to be stable. If you are trying to open a jar and it is stuck, say, this lid doesn't seem to want to move. Get used to the rhythm of that grammar. It doesn't seem to. It doesn't seem to. The more you say it in low-stress situations, the easier it will be to use when you are actually stressed at a hotel counter. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please hit the like button. It tells us that you want more content about the real psychology of speaking, not just lists of vocabulary. Next week, we are going to talk about something different. We are going to talk about how to describe your job. Not just, I am a doctor, but how to explain what you actually do all day when you are at a dinner party. It is a vital skill for making friends. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss that. Keep practicing your softeners. Remember, I'm afraid is your friend. Unfortunately is your shield. And would it be possible is your key to opening doors. Thanks for listening, and we will talk to you in the next episode. Bye everyone. Happy travels.